Imagine a loan so powerful it can follow you across state lines, survive bankruptcy, take your paycheck, your tax refund, even bite into your Social Security check 40 years from now. Now imagine handing that contract to a 17-year-old and calling it opportunity. We don't call it loan sharking. We call it paying for college. This is Shadow States. And tonight, we're going to class in America's favorite financial trap. Welcome to the Death of the American Dream Economic Collapse series. Today's episode, The Student Debt Trap, How Education Became a Scam. For decades, the script was simple. Work hard in high school, get into college. Take on some loans, it'll be fine. Graduate, land a good job, buy a house, raise a family, retire with a 401k and a smile. That was the promise. But here's the bill. Over $1.7 trillion in student debt in the US. More than 40 million people owing something. Payments that last 20, 30, even 40 years. And unlike your credit cards, this debt doesn't really go away. Miss enough payments and the government can garnish your wages, seize your tax refund, and grab your Social Security checks in old age. All built on one sentence you heard as a kid. College is the only way to make it. So how did higher education, once a ladder into the middle class, turn into a decades-long payment plan with your future as collateral? To answer that, we have to pull apart three pieces. The myth of college as a guaranteed ticket up, the machine that turns students into revenue streams, and the fallout that's killing the American dream one monthly payment at a time. The sales pitch goes like this. Yes, college is expensive, but it's worth it. On average, college grads earn more. So borrowing is just investing in yourself. Sounds smart. Until you look at the fine print. Since the 1980s, average tuition at public universities has more than tripled in real terms. Not the sticker shock your parents remember, a completely different price universe. Wages? They haven't kept up. If you've seen our episode, The American Dream is Collapsing, here's the proof. You already know. Productivity soared. Profits soared, but paychecks stayed flat. So yes, a college degree can still help for some people in some fields, but the risk has been dumped entirely onto the individual. Pick the wrong major, graduate into a recession. Don't finish the degree but still carry the loans? The system's answer is simple. That's on you. We took what used to be a mostly public investment in education, turned it into a private bet made by teenagers, and called it personal responsibility. Here's the part your guidance counselor left out. After World War II, the GI Bill sent millions of veterans to college either free or for very little. In the 60s and 70s, many state universities were close to free for in-state students. Then the script changed. Starting in the late 1970s and 1980s, states began slashing funding for public colleges. Costs didn't vanish, they were handed to students. Grants that didn't need repayment were quietly replaced by loans that did. By the 1990s and 2000s, student loans weren't a last resort. They were the business model, and this wasn't just any loan. Lawmakers made sure student debt was almost impossible to erase in bankruptcy. You can blow up your business, your credit cards, even your medical debt and get a legal reset. Student loans, they follow you like a shadow. Miss payments and the interest piles up. That interest gets added to your principal, so you pay interest on top of your past interest. Spend a decade in one of those income-driven repayment plans, making manageable payments, and you can still watch your total balance go up. Meanwhile, the loan servicers get their cut, the government collects interest, and colleges know there's always one more teenager willing to sign. And then there are the for-profit colleges' slick ads promising flexible degrees, high salaries, and respect. Some of them have been sued or shut down for misleading students about job placement and earnings, leaving people with mountains of debt and credits that don't transfer. On paper, it's all legal. In practice, tell me it doesn't look like a trap. So who wins when millions of young adults start their life already underwater? Universities raise tuition and build shiny new buildings, hire layers of administrators, and sell the campus experience like a luxury resort. Loan servicers and lenders skim billions in interest and fees by keeping you in repayment as long as possible. The federal government itself collects interest and penalties, turning access to education into a profitable asset class, and employers? They get a workforce too buried in payments to quit, strike, or walk away easily. You're not just working for a paycheck. You're working to service a loan that started before your first real job. If you've watched The Truth About 401ks No One Told You, You've already seen how retirement got turned into a Wall Street product. Here, it's the same play. Take a basic life need, education, and convert it into a lifetime revenue stream for everybody, but the person doing the homework. This isn't just about numbers. It's about everything student debt quietly delays or kills. People postpone marriage and kids because they feel too unstable. They skip starting businesses because they can't risk missing payments. They pass on dream jobs in lower-paid fields, teaching, the arts, public service because they need salaries big enough to feed the loan monster. Homeownership? Good luck. Your debt-to-income ratio can kill your chance at a mortgage before you even meet the lender. In our episode, Is This the End of Homeownership? The Wall Street Housing Trap. We show how investors are hoarding houses and turning families into permanent renters. Add student loans on top, and that starter home turns into a permanent fantasy. And while you're drowning in debt, someone tells you, hey, you really should be maxing out your 401k and retirement accounts. With what? Leftover vibes? We built an economy where you have to pay for yesterday's education, today's rent, and tomorrow's retirement all at the same time on wages that haven't kept up. Then we call it poor planning when people can't juggle all three chains at once. So why doesn't anything change? Because the story still works. Politicians can say, we expanded access to college by giving out more loans without fixing the prices. Older generations who paid a few $100s a semester look at five-figure tuition and assume kids today are just bad with money. Banks, servicers, and some universities don't want the cash flow to stop. And the culture keeps repeating, if you're drowning in debt, it's because you made bad choices. That's the genius of the trap. Turn a systemic problem into a personal shame. You won't riot against the system you think you deserved. So is education itself the scam? No, learning has value, skills have value, critical thinking has value. The scam is this: we told a whole generation that the only path to a decent life was through a door marked college. Then we put a toll booth at the entrance and charged whatever we wanted with interest. We turned the American dream into a subscription plan, and student debt is the first monthly payment. The real question isn't, how do we make the loans kinder? It's, why are we financing basic opportunity by chaining teenagers to decades of repayment? If you want to see how this student debt trap connects to the rest of the collapse, line up the evidence, watch The Truth About 401 Kiloseconds No One Told You, to see how even your retirement has been turned into a rigged investment game. Then watch Is This the End of Homeownership? The Wall Street Housing Trap, to understand why debt-burdened graduates are locked out of the very homes they were promised. And if you still believe the American dream is alive and well, there's always the American dream is collapsing. Here's the proof. This is Shadow States. Subscribe, check out The Death of the American Dream Economic Collapse series, and let us keep dragging these economic fairy tales out of the light and back into the shadows where they belong.